of it.
Right, okay, you've got, I said 2 minutes, didn't I? That's very generous. I'm going to give you another generous 40 seconds, Aaron. 40 seconds, all right? Look, see? 20 seconds, 40 seconds, and then we'll get going on this one. In the meantime, no, let's draw up the demand curve, just for the hell of it.
The price on the list. What? On your side. Wait, did you only do that on one day? Okay, so I'm done. Wait, can I see after half more? Right? Like, see? You can honestly, sorry, it's pretty good. How much space do you want? 10. Therefore, we got one buddy. Yeah,
Right, okay, we'll call that it. Here we go. Right, so the way we do this one is put our phones away, Brian. Blimey. Here we go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read through this one. And the first one's coming in here, so he's got to be ready. I'm going to read through this, and I'm going to stop, and I'm going to say someone's name. You guys, we are going to be a well-oiled, drilled machine, gap fill machine, learning gap fill economics machine, whatever I put in. And so every time I stop and I say a name, you're going to come up with the word, and then we continue. It takes a lot of practice. I have never done it this good in class, where we go through it absolutely fluidly without someone going, oh, where are we? Which one? Oh, you're getting it wrong. Anyway, so we will try. Are we ready for this one? Prepare it here, Liam. Here we go. Customers demand goods and services to Liam. Their needs and wants. Sonny.
Good.
Oh, first time. Wasn't price. Anyone got that one?
Wait, what is it then?
I got it right.
Demand. The demand for a good or service is the amount. It's going to be more speech. Is the amount a consumer is willing to buy at a given price. The demand for a good can be influenced by Maya. Price. Levels of income, people's taste or preferences, and the prices of other Harry. Goods. An individual's demand for a good can be illustrated in the form of a demand Holly, a table of price and quantity information, and a demand Reuben. A graph showing the relationship between price and quantity. When we draw a demand curve, we assume factors other than Ryan are held constant. The graph is always drawn with the price on the George
Vertical
axis and quantity on the. Back to Sunny, redeem yourself. Horizontal. No, he's not even got it written. Oh, he has got it written down there. Sorry, right. Fabulous. Right, okay. Nice little recap there. A nice little gap fill. Now, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we can remember from last spell, what we were looking at was the way in which us as economists and social scientists, the way that we collect our data about how much people purchase and what different prices. We've just referred to it here, Emily, but this is called a
Demand curve.
Oh, close.
Schedule.
The demand schedule. So that's where we get all the data from. Now, from that data, we then plot the data and we create a demand curve. Okay. So what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a couple of little exercises here. Now, on here is information that we need to put into a demand schedule. Okay. But obviously, it's all in text form. All right. So we've got to interpret what it's saying and pop it into a demand schedule with that price down here, the quantity demanded. But I'm asking you guys to do one extra thing. Now, on a demand schedule, Sonny, you with me? On a demand schedule, you're not normally asked this, and you won't be asked this in the exam. But I just thought, just for the hell of it, what we're going to work out is, for this business that's described here, at each price, they're going to sell a different amount of quantity. I want you guys also to work out how much money will they receive. The word we use to describe money that a company receives is, Toby? Close. Money received from sales, revenue. Income can be loans, it can be selling assets, whatever. Revenue, all right? And the way that we work out revenue, very simply, is price multiplied by the quantity. So what I want you to do is complete the demand schedule, but then as well, just calculate the revenue, all right? Now, once we've therefore done that, here's the big test. All I'd like you to do from the demand schedule is plot a demand graph at the bottom. So I'm going to hand it out, we'll read through it, and then we'll have a go at creating a demand schedule. Think of that. Think of that. Good, yeah, good answer. So you will be needing your straight edges, ladies and gentlemen.
No, wait, is it a person? Oh, so that's the U is it. Oh no, that's not fiction. That's like the name.
Okay, so here we go. So looking at one, if I'm going to have everyone's attention. If I'm going to be spending energy reading this one, then you need to be listening. If you're not listening, I'll ask you to read. Kiri sells brownies at break time. Liam, over to you. Read. Read it.
Oh, okay. Kerry sells brownies at break time and lunch space. Usual price is $2. And she sells 10.
Sorry. The reason I'm laughing is because I should have read this before, right? I'm experimenting with technology, right? And I'm trying to do that speech to text because I can't be bothered in writing all the time, right? So last night I was doing this one and I did speech to text, and I just noticed Kiri sells brownies at break time and lunch space. Why do you think the word space is in there? Because I was telling the speech to text, you need to put in a space. Anyway, sorry. The space has got nothing to do with this whatsoever. Right, okay. Space usual price. Anyway, ignore space. Sorry, Liam. Carry on. Please carry on.
She sells 10, but as time goes by, she lowers the price to $1.75 for the 12 point.
Yes, this is nonsense, basically. Carry on, Liam. Carry on.
Later, she reduces to $1.50 and sells 15. And as the day wears on, she realizes she doesn't want any left over. She reduces to $1.25 and sells another 20. At the end of the day, she reduces the price to $1 and has a rush of customers and sells another 30.
Right, okay, so the rest of it wasn't too bad. Okay, right, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, beautifully read by Liam. Thank you very much. What I'd like to do, therefore, from that information here, I want to just pop down the different prices, how much the quantity was demanded, work out the revenue, because we're all bright buttons, we can do that. And then I would like you to be creative, and draw up a demand curve based on this information. Go!
We have 3 more sheets.
Oh,
actually, no.
I gave it to you guys because you're my favourite.
What's row 12?
What's that?
Row 12.
Sorry. So, lowered the price to $1.75 and she sold a further 12. Sorry, further 12 means she sold a further 12.
It says it price times quantity.
Why are we using more? We're gonna do grass.
Oh, well, you don't really have
That's the secret stuff. Right, guys, remember it's for you to work out.
Wait, I think you wrote.
Big calculator with copies.
I think you said more words than.
I apologise.
that will get you that
No, I did
It's coming in you. Next one, you nearly there. Do you, guys, as to do this, to do a scale. No, that's not even,
I got it.
get the maximum figure that's there. So what we looking at?
The price, like one.
So usual price is say what we're looking at. $2.02. Take a halfway point, do 1. So then the maximum we've got here is 30. But then maybe do a little bit more, just let's do 40, 20, 30. Alright. Guys, sometimes just doing the scales can throw you a wee bit, but just look at the maximum number that's going to be represented on either scale, draw it to the maximum number, and then just pop in halfway points. Okay, that's probably the easiest way to set it up. We need to start seeing some of them straight edges coming out as well. They need to be coming out into play. I've got a deluxe straight edge here. I've got another one over here. If anyone is really scratching around for a straight edge. Remember, price on the left, quantity on the sort of right or on the horizontal axis. Guys, there's a little clue up on the board as well of another thing that needs to be included. And just for your old economics teacher, me, do us a favour, drawing an axis on your, there. Do that. I'll just leave it blank. I know it's a grid. Just draw the axis, just for me. Just stay, please. Forever. There needs to be a label on there as well. You missed.
Yeah, I think
That's all right. That's missing a label. Missing a label. Right, remember guys, whenever we do a demand curve, we need to get it into the habit, because when we actually get to the examination, the bloke the people who mark these are absolute sticklers for the fact that we've got to have a title to it. Okay, the axes need to be drawn in. They need to be good scales as well. I mean, sometimes they might be thrown out a wee bit, but hey ho. The lines obviously need to be there. Hopefully we're all seeing that the line is roughly going from the top left down to the bottom right, because that's the way the demand curve goes. And the line needs a label itself. It is one letter, and in the alphabet, it comes between
B. Q.
C and E. But you're right, you're giving it away to us, ladies.
E.
Okay. Remember, our axes also need to be labelled. P. Look, I should have put a dollar sign there. My error. And down the bottom, Q. But also in brackets, what the actual thing is. Yo.
Surely there are exceptions for what the man.
No. When? Go on. Yeah, of course there is. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, actually, I guess we like because it says that everything else remains constant.
That's the thing. So when you're thinking, oh yeah, but what about when they do a sale or something like that? A sale, you know, or they do lots of advertising, can't they become over fashion? That's all those other things. So you're just looking at the things. Right. Okay. So just going round, just having a quick nosy, just checking it all out. Please make sure your line has got D written on it. Please make sure your axes are labelled price and they're labelled quantity. Quantity of, in this instance, brownies. Okay. We also need to make sure that our line is joined up together with a ruler. Even this bit. Okay. When we've got information from a demand schedule, we need to ensure that it's all picked up together. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we're all there, it looks like we're all there. All I'd like us to do now is flip over. Practice makes perfect. Now, I'm being such a stickler for this because we are going to be drawing loads and heaps of these diagrams. I want us to get us into the practice. We've still got about half an hour left, folks, so don't worry, plenty of time. I know you've got this time going too fast for me. Right, here we go, Scruff. I wrote this the other day, and I called this person Scruff. Because I also have a mate called Scruff. I wonder what he's doing now. Anyway, Scruff grows and sells the best kiwi fruit in New Zealand. He's so proud of his kiwi fruit growing ability that he prices the fruit high. He started selling the fruit at $5 a punnet, and he received one sale. Poor market research didn't work out what the price was. Anyway, one sale. After thinking about the price, he reduced the amount to $4.50. This earned him 3 sales. It still wasn't enough. If he lowered his price to $3 at this price, he received more sales. That doesn't read right, it's really error in the speech to text. However, he received 7 sales. So $3, 7 sales. After thinking some more, he reduced his price to $2, and this got him another 12 sales. Once again, guys, boom! Demand schedule, demand curve, go! How do you notice? Okay, start with thinking everything you illustrate there. The exact quantity demanded from one drop. Well, it's not straight. Right.
No.
You don't know the best fit. Do you think it's his maths or something? It's really. Is that actually the way that one
That's more.
I must have not thought it myself, and I don't know what the actual maths like. Yeah, right. Please, kiwi fruit. Nice. Remember, guys, right, for these, I want titles, axes, lines, labels. The full 9 yards is what I want in this one. Alright? Yeah, as well. What is it? It's not drawing around. Oh, it's temporary access. You're in there. Amazing. Amazing. There's a gender split going on here with these axes. Yep. Nice. You're missing some of that, mate. Yeah. Give us a D. Give us a D. Give us a D. Give us an axis. D. Yeah, not there though. No, not there. Let me have a look at my sketch diagram. Give me a clue.
It's because it's blind, bro. Look like it is. Look like it is. Look like it is. Yeah, exactly.
We have no
Imagination. You just because he's part of the table. He has knowledge.
Right, okay. So guys, now looking at those examples, hopefully, thank you, just going round, what I'm basically checking is that we're all getting familiar with the whole idea that we draw up these demand curves, because in all seriousness, when we come to do the external, that's always the first question, and it's the first place that they deduct points if your graph hasn't got all the things on there. It's a very easy way to gain marks, and it's a very easy way to lose marks as well. So we get into the habit of doing that every time we're going to be drawing lots and lots of these. It's a good habit to get into. Secondly, hopefully we're identifying and looking through the text, we're identifying the price, we're identifying the quantity demanded, and we're also now getting into the habit of recognizing the information we can take from the price and the quantity demanded. As I say, it's more of a businessy type of thing that we do, but in actually economics, we don't have, they won't ask us to do that, but it's always good to do. So the next thing I need to show to you guys and illustrate to you guys is this whole idea of how we interpret data from this graph. So what I want is everyone's eyes and ears this way. Just put your pens down. Give us about 5 minutes of your time, and I want to go and explain something for you. Okay. So now, when we have been looking at this demand curve, okay, what it's basically showing is the level of demand at each and every price. Okay. Now, I've got here a sketch demand graph. Okay, now just remember is that what you're drawing it from specific data. So that's why some of you, I mean, I said this to Finn, that the second one on the kiwi fruit is quite more or less quite a straight line. But you do not draw the line of what do you call it? Optimum fit or whatever it is. Okay, easiest fit. So what you need to do is actually plot between, so although it might be a little bit like that, you still need to use plotting between the different points. Okay, now in the exam we'll be given that data, but to illustrate points we use these sketch demands as well. So this is where we literally do 1, 2, and 3 like that. Okay, now this just illustrates the point. Now the point I want to show us, is that we can illustrate at different prices how much quantity is on here. So for example, the way that we'd illustrate this one, because we don't have any scale down here, is we would call that our first point, we would call it P. P stands for price, absolutely. And very simply, by drawing in a dotted line, and I must stress it has to be a dotted line, it hits our demand curve, and then it bangs down at 90 degrees, and we call it Q. Okay, so what that is illustrating to us on this sketch diagram is that at P, we have quantity Q demanded of punnets of kiwi fruit. Now, to illustrate if there's a change in the price, what do you think is the next thing that we would put in? Imagine there's a decrease in price. Where do you think, how might I show this? I have no scale to say how much it is, but what would I illustrate the second price to be, or where? Talk to each other 30 seconds and try to work out. Where would you put it? Where would you put? I'll put another P in, but where would I put it? No, that's all good. That's all good. I'm going to ask you to do that, isn't it? So that's all good. Any ideas? Anyone? Holly, what do you reckon? Pardon? I've got another P. I've got to put under it. Why under it? Because it's the next price down. So we're going to illustrate a price going down. You're absolutely right. So we'll put it under it, as Holly rightly said. And we will call this... Good idea. Let's call it P1. All right, but you've got the idea. So we've got to make it different from the other one. So it's going to be a decrease in price. So we'd also pop in an arrow to say, yep, the price has gone down. Now, how would we therefore from this point illustrate the effect on quantity? Harry, what do you reckon? Another dotted line where? Across and then down from around about here? Yeah. Brilliant. And Harry, here we go, handshake here. What would we call this? Q1, because it's linked with that one. Now, ladies and gentlemen, because we know about the law of demand, we can see that what has been the effect as the price has gone down, what has been the effect on the quantity demanded?
Went higher.
It went higher because of the law of demand. As price goes down, quantity demanded goes up. Vice versa, ceteris paribus. So what we can see there is a movement from Q to Q1. Okay. Now that is illustrating what we refer to as a movement along the curve. Okay. And there's one final thing that we need to include on this one, and it is an arrow literally moving down the curve. Okay. Now, as I say, when we're doing these graphs, we need to do them accurately. They need to be with straight edges, and there's some fundamental things. We need to make sure our arrows are very clearly showing from one to the other, from here to here, and to here to here. Okay. And when we are showing this, we need to also make sure that these are always dotted lines, and they are always done with sketch graphs. So, on your kiwi fruit example, all I want you to do is show an example of a price moving down and the effect on quantity. I don't care what price, but a price going down. No, you're what? What are you doing? Where's your key on? There we go. So that you've done the golden. Oh, I've broken the golden rule, haven't you? Yeah. What is the golden rule? Yeah, see? Right, okay. But the whole idea is, yes, you've got the right things in. So what you do is label that P. Lee, have you done that? Some yes, some yes. Yeah, see? It's lulling you into this false sense of security.
No, yeah, but it's honestly.
Who says I don't get it? Who's that? Imagine this is
I'm going back to the finger, and I'm going.
There you go, that's cool. Right, I'm going to do a quick lap of the room, and then we're going to flick on a little video to explain it. Hopefully a little bit better than I. We've got our P's and our Q's. Fabulous. Fabulous. P's and Q's all in there. Good stuff. P's and Q's. They're all way around.
That bit of rainbow here. Well, but it was.
What? Confusing things. So you're right? Yeah, please. Drop your
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Drop your price. Drop your price. Drop your price. Where's the piece? Right, it's all going to be labelled up, looking nice. Something on the front. Good stuff. Moving along the curve, labelled up. Riley. That's it. How many cornerstones you got? Good idea. Fabulous. Right. Right, guys.
Well, I did, but I used to.
Right. Right, okay, guys, just for the last 5 minutes, I'm going to flick on someone who is a doctor in all this sort of stuff, who can properly tell you what this is all about. So I'm just going to flick on a little vid. Mike, can you put the, what do you call it? What are they called? Lights. That's what I want. And hopefully this is going to come on. So. Yeah, cool. Right, guys, so just to finish off today, the first part of Double Spell, which I'm just going to stick on this video. So once again, it's a very short clip explaining pretty much what we're sort of going through, but it's always a good way to recap. So if you hadn't scratched your heads a wee bit, just on doing the movement along the curve and doing the demand schedule, okay, maybe have a look at this one, and it might probably bring it into a bit more perspective for you. If this is working, I've got to do.
Last will be bought the hired.
Sorry.
What does it mean? All the law of demand really says is that there's an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded. Price goes up, amount bought goes down. At a low price, people are much more willing to buy. At a high price, people don't want to buy much. What about that last part, the Latin, ceteris paribus? Well, ceteris paribus means all else being equal or other things the same. So the law of demand says that there will be an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded as long as nothing else changes. Look at it this way. If you're a consumer, what makes you willing to buy or not willing to buy a product or service? Of course, price affects your willingness or unwillingness to purchase, but what else? Income? Sure, the amount of income, particularly your disposable income, will affect your willingness and or ability to buy. Luxury or necessity? Absolutely. What about differing tastes and preferences? Naturally, your tastes and preferences help to determine your willingness or unwillingness to purchase. But what determines your tastes and preferences? Of course, your personal tastes and preferences have been a lifetime in the making and are always changing, but a few determining factors are age, gender, religion, social status. What else affects your willingness to buy? How about weather or climate? What about expectations for the future? How many factors are there that affect an individual's willingness to buy or not? The number of factors is endless, and I, for one, don't like to think about an infinite number of things at once. If I'm going to model the willingness to purchase, I want to narrow my focus to only 2 factors. What will the 2 factors be? Well, think back to the law of demand. The focus is on quantity demanded and price. Quantity demanded, or what you buy, of course depends on all the factors just mentioned. Quantity demanded is a function of price of the product, price of substitute products, price of complementary goods. It depends on the income, it depends on the weather, politics, all this stuff. But if I want to focus just on quantity demanded and price, what do I do with everything else? Well, remember that all else constant part? We recognize that all of these other factors are important to the decision, but for right now, we'll assume that they're constant and unchanging. How does this work? Well, imagine that you're in the market to buy a house. You consider a lot of variables, right? Your income, mortgage rates, which neighborhoods have good schools and other amenities. Is this just a starter home, or will you be there for a long time? And of course, you will look at home pricing. Suppose you've already given thought to your budget, mortgage rates, neighborhood amenities, whether a Walmart's being built nearby, etc. And you also find that right now, housing is going for $150 a square foot. At this price, and given all those other factors, you have determined that you would be willing to purchase a 1,500 square foot house. What if the market slows down and price per square foot drops to $100? Keep in mind that all the other variables will be unchanged. Same income, same mortgage rate, same neighborhood amenities, same everything, except that the price per square foot has changed. The law of demand says you would then be willing to purchase more square footage. Well, wouldn't you? Perhaps 2,000 square feet. What if the market headed up again, such that the price per square foot increases to $200? All else constant, you would not be willing or able to buy as much house as before. Maybe at $200 per square foot, everything else remaining the same, the quantity demanded would be more like 1,000 square feet. In the end, if you were to plot out each of these price-quantity combinations, you would start to see the inverse relationship described by the law of demand. Now, of course, there are more possible prices than just these three, but we can see the general pattern now, and other prices would fit in with that existing pattern. Do you notice that these points are starting to trace out a line? Well, this line, really this collection of all possible price, quantity, demand, and combinations, is the demand curve. Next time, change in demand versus change in quantity demanded.
Oh, all righty. The next time. Right, okay, we will call that it for the time being. Have a little break. Have a brain break. For the next part of the show after intermission. Thank you very much. All right, no worries. See you next time. Hope you come back. Hope you come back for more.
One day, on his office.
All right, cheerio. See ya.
Hello. Is the microphone still on, sir? Is the microphone still on?
Yeah, it is actually. 2,000 games. This is better.
I'm dying.
This has been on bags for since yesterday. What are we bags to drink?
No, it's sealed. You'll be all right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
I've got everyone's in there, so sorry, stuff's in there.
Because my group is going to be for a run through it.
Oh, John.
That room's locked. You know, lock it.
Yeah, is it empty now? Well, that room's fine. Is that have a look? Is that paper span up? Is that paper stuck in there? Yeah.
Yo, she's doing a live stream right now.
Right now.
Yeah, look, come. I'm looking right now.
Wait, who?
On YouTube.
How many views do I have?
Probably none. Yeah, like no views. Sad.
She has like a microphone as well.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Moore bought that for the school.
And it's the same one that Joseph has.
Why is just?
He used to do that.
Oh yeah, that's like. Isn't it like $300?
It's 100.
Do you reckon if I yell at it, people get like ear rape?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone listens to it, no? Is anyone else coming?
I mean, everyone should be running home.
I know Nick is coming.
I mean, Ben went out to go. I didn't buy that labels, but so Ben went out to go buy them and get Carl. And so, I said, Ben, you're willing to. Okay. John, yesterday, not said he would.
Where did you look at it?
Well, I didn't actually look. I just looked. Because I was going to buy them before I went down to play. When I was walking down to my car, I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy labels.
So how are we gonna get there tomorrow?
Sorry?
How are we gonna get there? No.
Catch a train.
I'll get there. Yeah, I catch it 10:30 train.
Yes, I know that. What time's up there?
11:30. Up and
That's like
should we catch an early train? Because we get there like
no, you just get it like in the
yeah, and that's not ideal.
No.
I reckon get there like 11 would be good.
Yeah.
So we catch a 10 train.
Wait, did you hit it in any of the
And like daily.
okay, well what I'll do is this afternoon I'll change everything so I'll remove the cost of the original cow. It was just how you get those bad tasting oranges?
Yeah.
That's what the 40 tasted like. And in the supermarket, none of the oranges were like a bright orange, they're all faded. And because it's coming into winter,
Yeah.
orange is going to be real expensive.
Same with like all fruit.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not like lemons.
Lemons will be fine because they're we used to get lemons for free, like trees and stuff.
I mean, I had lemon tree down, but I don't think they have any.
Yeah, well, yeah, but we used to like the kind of oranges in the audio where they can get like lemons.
Get a minute tax. How are we gonna get all that with them? Oh, you're just gonna. Should I put them on?
I told Ben to go out to make us a
And so what bottles are we going to use?
I don't think those
Are we going to try the bottles?
I'm okay. You meant to be like.
Yeah, I'm doing everything next time.
I'm sorry, that's not bad.
Guys, they kind of stole all of it, everything for the shoot center, put all one color, out of all the side of it. It was just standing there. There's this huge pile of all the chairs and tables and everything.
That shocked me. I did not know we were in 6 months.
Everybody's just standing awkwardly in the shoot center.
Yeah, we were put all the chairs in one corner, surrounded by all the big tables, and we're out of order on this paper and put them and then anytime someone goes to take a chair, all of the year 13 just scream.
It's just good.
That's pretty good.
It's
pretty
hilarious.
Are we gonna start rehearsing? Wait. Are we gonna start the thing?
I was on to.
I don't have a thermo.
Well, I can bring a thing of hot water.
Yeah,
No, I wanted the thermos so I can like look at a hot 40 or so. Well, I started to buy this everything here about the So I've got babysitting for like 6. We need to sync the busy with.
Yeah, great one. How come we're just I think it's real. It's real numbers.
I think we should do Halcon because Tyler makes it confusing for what's like it. Yeah. I feel like Halcon just be really easy.
Are we just have one person the whole time?
No, the person you click as well.
Yeah, true.
But I think we should get it on time.
Don't we get a?
Yeah, we do get one. Yeah, we do get one. And I'll ask I know the physics department. So, do the economics department have one of those clickers for PowerPoint presentation?
Nah, I wish. No, we don't.
I know the
Apparently we get one there.
Gavin did say we get one.
Yeah, that does ring a bell. Yeah. If you said you'll get one, you'll get one. Yeah.
That's easy.
Are we? And so, what models are we gonna do? Just plastic models.
I personally don't know. That's it with
I think
that.
that's a bit. I think my eight models would work well. Because can we see actually the things that are printed? No, it's like it's a sticker. It's a plastic, and you just can rip it and it comes off.
Or we can just cover it up.
Wait, so
Like it all comes off.
are we gonna buy 3 V bottles?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm confused. Be pure?
Yeah.
Okay, they cost like $3.50 each.
I'll buy them to there because I'm buying pairs and have them.
I'll buy something from wooden teeth myself and recycle the bottle. So I'll gladly buy something. Myself.
Should we do another run through of the presentation, boys?
Yeah, just try that. Are we gonna do it out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
But someone needs to sync it. Someone will have to sync the PowerPoint or whatever to the script, and then they can be in charge of clicking, so they know that everything's changing.
Yeah, just one person doing the cooking.
Yeah.
How do I add a new email?
Oh, also dressing, because we haven't really planned dressing. If we all dress that out with nice clothes, it's not going to match. So we're going to look real uncoordinated. So it's almost like
Just white t-shirt. Yeah. I feel like that's just simple and nice-ish.
Are you looking at me for acceptance? No, I agree. Yeah, it's worth thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got white long sleeve. Yeah. Okay.
There's going to be something to us.
Just
one try hard hands. Or just school uniforms, to be honest. Because a lot of the pros go back to school.
Alternatively, guys, an easy way to get around that, but you want to have some sort of sense of unity, is if you've got lanyards with just a little something that you can say. That also works quite well. But if you can get it organised.
I feel like
like that sort of thing. It goes around your neck and just go with a little like tag or something.
we just do a little bit of string of paper.
To be honest, guys, I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's more what you're saying rather than what you look like.
Everyone has like pants, right? And a white t-shirt.
Yeah, I think that should be next class. Alright, so we just into this?
Does that have to be a plain t-shirt?
Someone
I can lend you a t-shirt. What size is it? You're medium. How much is it? 2XL.
Can somebody like screenshot the 2 parts that I talk and 3 parts that I talk and send it to my Wi-Fi?
Why not?
Because I just can't do
So can you time this for us?
Do you want me to video it?
Do we want a video, guys?
Not yet.
Just so you got a bit of playback so you can hear what you said. I'll just put it on my YouTube thing. All right, no, I'll time it for you if you want.
Put it on YouTube.
Do we want to like organize the production of each person to Messi?
Yeah.
Because I know you're the last one.
I'm first and last, because on the rejection.
On the Prezi, you're the last.
Okay, I sent the screenshot.
I was saying because I'm CEO.
Yeah.
Oh, just as.
Okay, I can just change.
You should might as well.
I'll just change the Prezi to the next one.
I'm going to download. I can't log into solutions, so we have to download Google Drive.
Is everyone ready? Yeah.
Not really.
Just say when and I'll start the timer.
Maybe Jackson Smith was down any further.
I don't think she did.
Alright, no one change the script this time, bro. Bro. They put me off and I wasn't even speaking.
Okay, I'm
So I
seeing
stand up front.
We're gonna like take a big step forward when you're speaking.
Oh,
Like,
that's
sit back. Are we actually?
necessary.
Yeah, the brain engine was it.
Yeah.
Sure, little huge.
Okay.
Alright.
You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Are you proud to be New Zealander? We're also proud to be New Zealanders. And why don't we see more native New Zealand ingredients in New Zealand made products? At Backyard Beverages, we've addressed this issue by creating a cordial and drink with Kawa in it. Hi, I'm Kim, the CEO at Backyard Beverages. I'm fully committed to driving our business towards fulfilling our goals and meeting our vision. I'm Nick, the Director of Human Resources. I'm invested in this opportunity to work in a team environment as we put our own Kiwi spin on a drink.
I'm Jax, I'm the Chief Financial Officer, and I'm determined to make sure that our business strives to greatness.
I'm Dom, I'm the Head of Research and Development, and I'm dedicated to creating a drink that everyone can appreciate.
I'm Ben, I'm the Chief Operations Manager, and I'm looking forward to creating an exciting product to stay with Kiwi flavors that I can use.
And I'm Ali, in charge of marketing at Backyard Beverages, and I'm looking forward to creating a great relationship with our customers.
We also need to provide Kaine, a former Young Enterprise Team alumni, who will provide us with an invaluable experience. Our name Backyard Beverages comes from the idea that Aotearoa is our own backyard and that we're sourcing our ingredients locally.
We've conducted market research and gathered that each unique flavor also appeals to its own target market. Our next flavor we have for you is lemon, mint, and cacao. Inspired by classic flavors, this is a short sell drink that is loved by all ages because of its unique, refreshing taste. The target market for this drink is cordial enthusiasts, which are most adults from the mid-20s onwards.
The third flavor we have prepared today is a spice beer and cacao. This is our most unique flavor and is delicious hot or cold. Because of its sweet and spicy taste, we found it appeals to most to an older demographic.
As we're using the native Māori plant kawa, we want to make sure we have enough respect for it. So we talked to our Māori teacher at our school and we found the best way to do this.
Our product costs us $6 per litre, and each bottle costs us about $1.50 each. This means a bottle of 750ml cordial will cost us $6. We'll get us out for $10, which is $4 profit. Our 330ml drinks cost us $1.71 to make, and we'll sell for $4, meaning it will make $2.30 profit. And for our first batch, ingredients will cost us $137, and total packaging will be about $200. So we'll have a total cost of about $337, as well as paying extra $100 for our FPOS machine and another $150 for our market fee. Oh shit. And we started the business by investing $50 each, meaning that we had an opening account of $300. But if necessary, each member will contribute more money, so we have sufficient funds. We only have to sell 65 units in order to break even, and we have a current estimated stock of about 105 bottles, meaning overall we will make a total of $230 profit, deducting all expenses.
We began by creating a Facebook and Instagram page and using social media ads to try and get some common attention so people know we exist. We plan on creating a website that people can go to from Facebook and Instagram to find our friends.
Our primary sales strategy is to sell at local markets on a weekly basis. Once our website is set up, we will also be doing online sales. As we begin to build up a reputation, we will then ask cafes in the local area to see when they will stock our product for us.
We've carried out market research at our school market night, and we found valuable feedback about our minimal viable product. And from this, we let consumers critique our flavors so that we could modify them. We also had a meeting with Six Bell Soda, who is another cordial company, and we were able to get good feedback, and we discussed good supplies and different production processes. This was helpful in terms of what we had to do.
We started off by recognizing the lack of New Zealand ingredients in New Zealand made products. We which gave us our idea for our product. We then set out about developing a minimum viable product, which we were able to get feedback on. Then we refined our MVP into a final product with 2 distinct flavors and went about fundraising for our company. In the coming weeks, we will start producing our product in the commercial kitchen we have secured, and start by taking it to local weekend markets to start selling. In the next school term, we plan on approaching local cafes to have our products stocked.
For us to be a sustainable business, we've outlined a couple of goals that we will need to meet to improve the bottom line. Our goals are to break even in an economic sense, incorporate multi-business concepts in our company, use natural ingredients sourced locally to educate the community about health benefits and natural farms.
The unique selling point for our product is that the power content we add in every drink. There are no real major companies in the drinks and cordial market who use power in their drink. Using power in our drinks gives us 2 unique flavors that are quite new to the drinks and cordial market. So we will differentiate ourselves by offering customers something they may have not seen before.
Our production starts off with harvesting calico in my backyard. We will follow the body process for saying calico before harvesting in order to use it.
Yeah, and that's it.
We hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Okay, and so we got to 5 minutes when Dom started.
Yeah, so that was 6 minutes when you just finished that.
Do you know when we?
Yeah, so it was just before Dom started.
Yeah.
Sustainability.
Can I just make a real quick suggestion? I thought it's good. It's good. It is. I think the bit at the beginning where you all stand up and introducing yourself and what makes you sort of impassioned as to what you're doing. It's a great idea, but I don't think you necessarily need to do that. And I looked at that, and that was a minute of you guys doing that. I think what you could do is just stand up and introduce, all right? But then when you say your individual bits, you would say, Jack's Chief Financial Officer, blah, 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 blah. So and maybe do it that way. And that should cut back about 50 seconds of it.
How else can we talk about ourselves? Because when Gavin was talking to us, he said, "What's real?"
We can walk in before our time even starts, right, and shake their hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that will make
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Actually, it's a good way of doing it.
So do you want me to introduce all you guys with your roles as well?
Yeah.
Is it necessary? If we go up and I'll like shake each of their hands.
Well, what if
say,
I'll just do it again.
What if we introduce ourselves as we speak? Be like, I'm Jack, Chief Financial Officer. Also, we need to spread out my stuff so it's not like all together.
Yeah.
But then all of your stuff is important.
Yeah, and when Nick was talking about our unique selling point, we want to talk about that when we're describing our product. So we want to throw in the cost right after Nick talks about that.
Can I, sorry to interrupt there, Jackson. I think what you're saying is you've got a lot to say, but I think a lot of what you could say is it not on the present? Is it not on the presentation?
Yeah.
We'd rather say it than have them read it off.
But what you can do is have it there, and you're picking out the key points. The key points like how much it's costing you, your sort of your profit levels, and the break-even point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that might be a way of.
Because you don't need like the unnecessary stuff for you to say, but it'll be good for them to be able to see it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I guess especially with the figures, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
I think
So. Sorry, do you want to say me then?
Yeah.
Do you want someone else to say? Because we'll be saying the finance and
How many tickets do we need to sell?
I'd say roughly about another 20. It'll come through.
You reckon?
When we go,
I feel like we still got plenty of time. So had I done that and we've got like 3 days to go, I'm not panicking.
yeah, because
Isn't it nice at like 33, so people will have it in more sense?
Yeah,
sure.
I think when I sent it out yesterday, I think I've had about another.
Do we want to pick this one?
Yeah, 8 or so come through.
Are we going to go to
the actual break-even point, there's a charge for the head, so it can't be exactly. But yeah, that's what it'll happen, mate. Don't worry. To be honest,
Good, all right.
I'll be amazed if they actually totally can. It's been we've got about 120.
That's good. All right. We'll go back to
It's a bit more than anything. Just give it's a bit of a G up to get people. Just to
Honestly,
say, we are a little bit short. I have no worries. We'll make it. Right.
It's good, man. Carl. Drinks. Do you have an Instagram, Dan? You should get one in Pablos, I mean. You should get one in Pablos.
What is that thing?
Carl.
Yeah, what's that?
Nick, do you want to explain what Carl is? It's a native body plant, and it's got several benefits. Boy, it's like
Where's the plant in the
yeah. Are we gonna say that we get it from Ben's backyard?
We don't really need to.
Alright, yeah, cut that out.
Locally grown.
Locally grown, yeah, very local. Yeah, okay, yeah, I guess so for introduction, we'll just we'll just all walk in and check our hands and say what our role is.
Okay, so we're gonna delete all the introduction stuff.
Yeah. And then I'll just say, I'll just introduce you guys once more again. Okay, this is Dom. Yeah.
Oh, we could at the end, when you say thank you for listening to us, you could say Rebecca Beverages and we're excited to.
We should have a slogan.
No, because that tells stuff about us.
Oh, we're back up Beverages and we're excited to see what you've done.
Carl can't wait to
We should just say,
you can use something for free. You will.
say it was backyard beverages. It's time to I'll think of something. It's not too important. And with the drinks, so I'm assuming it's dessert.
Yeah.
Are they? Because we want to give them samples, right?
Yep.
Should we do it on their table, or what? How should we do that?
So what have you got? Have you got a bottle with you?
Yeah, we're gonna bring the bottles and then pour them into cups when we're there.
Yeah, I would. What I would do is in a way, your final thing to say thank you for listening to our presentation. Find a little bit, and we also have some samples for you to try.
We were gonna do as we're talking about, because like say when Barley's talking about one of the drinks, I'll be pouring a drink for them so they can try it.
I think that'll take too long.
It might take a little bit, but that makes sense though because they've got a
yeah, because you have to pour
If we when we're introducing ourselves, give them each like two, 3 cups of drinks.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Or just
Can we get a table in front of us?
Yeah, I imagine that if I don't know how they're going to organise it, but usually they're sitting in front of a big table and there will be space for you to put. They're expecting people to bring up prototypes and stuff. So, what I think what you could do is if anything is have the bottle there, have the cups there. Can you give us 1 second, guys? Have the cups there, right? And they are free as you're doing your presentation. They're free to try it and listen as you're doing it. You know, just have.
We don't want to. We want to pour it for them. That's why. Or just rather have them pour it.
Yeah.
I would have it let them pour it themselves.
Yeah, and it to be awkward.
And then you're faffing around doing that, and then he's talking, and they're all laughing at you because you're cocking it up and all that type of stuff. And then the people are looking at, oh, what's he doing? Like, it might be a bit hectic, you know. And if you do spill it, it'd be incredibly embarrassing. So if they spill it, they can spill it over themselves. I'm sure you might spill, but you never know, do you?
So feel free to help yourself.
So tomorrow morning, what time should we meet?
What time's your thing?
11:30.
11:30. So just make sure you're there 10 minutes before. I'll be there.
10 o'clock train.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'll be there, and so.
It's like what customers? Yeah.
Good on you, fellas. Good stuff. I think you'll be fine.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Thank you coming to.
I'll wear a watch tomorrow.
Hey. Right.